So the name Paul means little. Paul was a Roman citizen by birth, and so he had to have a Hebrew name. Being obviously a Hebrew by birth, it was required to have a Greek name. And he opens this epistle by stating that his apostolic authority was granted by Jesus Christ and him alone. He didn't go to Bible school and major in apostleship, but opens this glorious epistle of grace by declaring that all blessings, including being used by God to bring others into the kingdom and helping them grow in Christ, is entirely on the basis of grace. And he does so by stating that the calling of being an eyewitness of the risen Christ, performing miracles in his name, and having the authority to establish official Christian doctrine was granted to Paul on the basis of grace. This is a classic example and confirmation that man's approval is totally meaningless. Cults and even certain Christian denominations practice the doctrine of the apostolic laying on of hands. This doctrine is based on the idea that the hands being laid on the man being ordained has had hands laid on him and hands by somebody else who had someone else lay hands on them, all the way back to Peter. But Paul declares here that he's got one better than Peter. Paul states that Paul got his authority from Jesus Christ and therefore didn't need the approval of anyone else. And really the same is true for you. Not just regarding whatever it is that God has called you to, but also regarding, your Christian life in general. No one needs to approve of how you're living. As long as the Bible is your final authority on how you live your life, you don't have to explain anything to anyone, because you don't have to convince anyone that the way you're living is acceptable as a Christian. If you're part of a church where you are constantly harassed by busybodies who obviously are fishing for information so that they can get dirt on you to feel better about themselves and gossip about you, well, you need to find another fellowship. I know what that's like. Your relationship with God is so much more important than your reputation, any ministry opportunity, or anything else. If you put God first, including making him your only judge, then he'll graciously provide everything else you need.